Just don't record it. Where do you live? Patrick. Are they still in the house?
No, they're still in the house. My dad started one day
With them? Hospital deal stuff?
Take a long time.
You gotta get me at least. Yes, you got me at least. So Blake's on. Next couple.
Who's holding cloth?
Right.
And then.
Oh, I said hi, you were here.
No,
No, you say.
I'm super glad you guys are here.
So you want to blow your all out or?
You know, because he's like, yeah, totally awesome. Because he's like, can you just show us what you're going to do? And I'm like, forget you guys put it together. Just come, be here, do it.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I should have, I don't know if I did send, this being recorded, we can send the link. So you can get it works with this. And,
Yeah, we just have your iPhone.
yeah.
Thanks
for.
Yeah, it's all run.
So you're over an award? Oh, awesome. Okay, we got it. Then essentially everything's gonna filter through you. There's gonna be this meeting, and we'll go through skills, or we'll do kind of what's it all about, and then we'll talk about knives. And then after that, the state running coordinators, which is you, are gonna get together. So that's you, and just plug yourself in. Yeah, and so what's gonna happen essentially is you're the point guy for your work. So just all the information is gonna go to you and filter down. Each state is responsible for an activity area. You guys don't have one, so don't worry about it. So if we end up having a state where we just need some boys, just know that you can invite some of your priests to come out and serve if they want to come and be part of this and stuff. But don't worry about having everything. And so Cole Ellerson right here, he's your main guy. He's the one that works with all the stakes and makes sure the information's get down. I've got a paper I'm gonna go get you. Let you look at it. My name's Cole Ellerson. You sir, Cole Ellerson. Ambrose, nice to meet you guys. You remember what we? Oh, cool. You better start running out your beard. You guys. So we'll talk about these more after this. So this is essentially this is all you. The main things that you're doing is coming to these meetings. There's outpost readiness. You don't have an outpost. Right about that. You get your wards registered. There's a fireside Thursday evening. Just kind of some camp stuff. On the back are the meetings, scheduled meetings that happen, how to register. We'll go over that. And then this is just you and what you're going to be doing. So, anyway, we're glad you're here. Yeah, I don't know why that lobby's weird. So keep people from staying out. They do it on Sunday.
Seems like we started that, we're still working.
Because sometimes they're thinking they're gonna do stuff, or stuff, or they make sure the land is stuff as well. Oh my goodness.
All right, brethren. This is fun. There's a lot of seats up front here, and when we get to all the knife stuff, you're going to want to see what's going on. So, at any point, feel free to just come on up and fill in these front seats, or set up some more chairs, or whatever. If you can't see what's going on, feel free to come on up. Anyway, we're glad that you're all here. We're glad that you're all here. We're going to go ahead and first, we're going to get started and have an opening prayer. And I've asked Gary Jones to try to make it through a prayer with this microphone.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful to be here. We're grateful for our callings to work with young men and to help them in their growth and on their path back to Thee. We ask Thy blessing tonight that the things we learn, the things that are presented, and the things we learn will be beneficial to us, and that they can be taken back and used in helping the young men prepare for this activity. We are so grateful for the kind protection Thou hast given us, and grateful to have the opportunity to attend the rendezvous. Bless our efforts that we can do all that we are capable of to help the young men get there and have this experience. And this we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Gary. All right.
Yeah, can I just talk loudly? Is that cool? I'm just going to talk really loudly. First of all, WAW! Pilgrims! WAW! Mount Man Rendezvous is a really, really exciting event. We've been participating in Rendezvous, celebrating Rendezvous for about 20 years now. And the Mount Man Rendezvous has first and foremost and always been a priesthood activity. And what we've done for a lot of years is we've performed this priesthood activity through the scouting program. We were able to meet and have a place and use it as a scouting event, and it was awesome. And now we get to have our priesthood activity as solely a priesthood activity, which is wonderful because we get to do a lot more or have a lot more freedom because the group we're in, we don't have to try to not step on some toes. We are a body of priesthood brethren, and we're celebrating that. The Mount Man Rendezvous, back in the early 1800s, a lot of young men were enticed to go see the new frontier. There was opportunities in the new frontier. There was opportunities with trapping and opportunities with exploring. And so a lot of young men would go out to the frontier. But the frontier was a lot different than the bustling cities that were in the east. And the frontier, there were a lot of oppositions and problems and trouble that these new young men would run into. And one of the biggest was not getting lost. As you can see, for this rendezvous, "Don't get lost" is going to be our motto. We want these young men to learn not to get lost, just like these early young mountain men had to learn quickly how to move around, how to get places, how to do things, but also how to be centered, how to go back to safety, how to know where safe places were, safe people were, and safe environments were. And so we want our young men already to be strong and to not get lost in this day and age. And I love this scripture in 3 Nephi 27:30. It says, "And now behold, my joy is great, even unto fullness, because of you. And also this generation, yea, and even the Father rejoiceth, and also all the holy angels, because of you in this generation, for none of them are lost." I I can see the Savior saying these same words to us and to our young men. We are grounded. We know what we're here for. We know what we're all about. And that's what we're excited to theme this rendezvous around and all about. We're going to have a lot of fun and do a lot of great things. This year, our rendezvous has been moved to a new location. It's a church site. It's a church property called Camp Green Howard. And who can tell me where Camp Green Howard is? Gary? Just shout out real quick, roughly where it is.
You want me to correct?
Just roughly where it's at. All I know is that way.
How many of you know where the Blue Ridge Ranger Station is? That's the focal point. You go about a quarter mile past Blue Ridge Ranger Station and turn left on road, what is it, 211 or something like that, whatever. But it's not hard. It's not hard to get there, not at all.
8 miles from the off 87.
Oh, yeah, 8 miles off of Highway 87.
Good. And it's
Just to the north.
And it's an easy road. It's well paved. Anyway, it's only just a little bit further than Geronimo was, and there's not the big long dirt road to get into Geronimo. So it's a wonderful, easy access property. Because it's our own property and we get to write our own rules, things are going to be a little better and a little different this time. We don't have to park vehicles and hike gear in. Yay! We're going to camp the stakes, so you're going to be with your stake already. You're going to drive in, just park your stuff, set up your camp, and it's going to be that easy. And because it's just a big open area, essentially, the camp's going to be a lot tighter and closer together. We're not going to be all over the side of mountains going uphill both ways. So it's just a wonderful property. It's beautiful up there. We're going to have an amazing time. So that's a big win for us. We're happy about that. Okay, so Mountain Man Rendezvous. I want you to know that Mountain Man Rendezvous is an amazing event. It's an amazing event for leaders that go their first time. And then that becomes something they want to do forever and ever. And youth that go their first time and they want to come again and again and again. It's a great activity. What we do when we get up there is to celebrate mountain men, to remember mountain men, and also just to have a lot of fun. We participate in a lot of activities that the mountain men participated in. So we're shooting black powder rifles. We're doing archery and knife and hawk throwing. We're making things with our hands. We're making leather goods. We're making knives, and we'll talk about that tonight. There's a lot of different things that we do up there that are a lot of fun, and they're really exciting for these young men because it's something different, something that they're not doing right now. And so it's something new for them and a new way to get together and do things. Now, kind of like Trek, we want people to be ready. We want people to participate. You're going to have a much better experience if your boys have done some things to kind of prepare for Rendezvous. And by prepare, I just mean do some things to get ready for it, make somebody yell at you, do something to kind of hold together as a quorum before you go up there. That'll really help them feel a part of this. Kind of like a trek. When you go on a state trek, you know, they give you things to wear, they give you things to bring to make you really feel a part of what you're doing. We want that same thing. On the flip side, regalia can be, there's this giant spectrum of what regalia is and how to prepare, what you can do to prepare. You can start now and keep preparing for the next 20, 30 years. I'm still building my regalia and having fun and doing things. But that's not necessary, ultimately necessary, or even the point. The point is to have your boys, have your young men, and that's why you're here tonight, young men. This is really your meeting because you're leading this. We want you to be doing things that will help your quorum come together and draw together. So through the next couple of meetings we have, and I'll show you some resources through these things, you'll be able to go back, show your quorum, and say, hey, should we do this? Should we make this? Should we make shirts so we can all wear our shirts together? You'll be able to do some things that will bring you together as a brotherhood, as a quorum body. And that's really what you want. And then go up there and have a great 2 days having fun and do some great things. And that's really what we want for you guys. And so, look at these resources. Have your leaders write down some names. If you forget some of these resources, feel free to get a hold of us. Your state representative will have our information as well. But know that you can start building this. We don't want any war or any group to feel like they don't have enough preparation to show up. And that's the biggest thing. We want you just to be there, just show up. And if there's boards in your state that aren't here tonight, if you talk to boards in your state later on and they don't know anything about it yet, or they're like, oh, we've got too much to do, we can't get ready, just encourage them to show up and be there, because they're going to have a great time. And we do a lot as a stake as well. So anyway, that's kind of what Rendezvous, that's what Rendezvous is about. We used to hold this in the spring. We're gonna start now holding it in the fall. A lot of our rendezvous, we were either knee deep in mud or snow, and it was just really difficult. The winter is going to be a little easier, or the fall break is going to be a little easier with both of those, and we should have better conditions. This year, right now, there's a lot of fires going on right now. Those fires won't be going on, and if it stays away from us, wonderful. If not, then we'll just have some charred trees to deal with. But we're still going to roll on, and we're still going to have our rendezvous. All right? All right. I'm going to go through, and we're going to kind of talk about. We're going to do. Oh, one more thing. So don't get lost. If you'll jump to the internet, there's an internet button down there. Actually, go over one more. Sorry, to the right. Yeah. Sorry. Open it back. You know what? Sorry, guys. My computer shut down. Everything turned off on me. Okay. It's going to take a long time with this computer. So, we used to have a whole bunch of meetings for like 6 months to get ready for Rendezvous. For you guys, for your time, and to make it easier, we've condensed that to just a few meetings. Now what that means is there's more that you'll need to do on your own. Getting information and just getting prepared, making phone calls and trying to figure things out. We still have to do that anyway, but we've reduced the number of meetings, so there's only a couple meetings. So in meetings like this, what we're going to do is we're going to get together. We'll first have 2 different skills we're going to talk about. Tonight, we're just talking about what Rendezvous is all about and what to look forward to. And then we're going to talk about how to make knives. Because knife making is one of the things that kind of takes the most time. And every boy wants to do it, and it's an awesome thing to do, but you kind of need to have some time to plan and prepare. And the summer is crazy. Most of your boys are on vacation, or they're gone, and all of a sudden school starts and it's Rendezvous. So we wanted to get knife making right out in the open, right first thing. But we're gonna go over some skill sets so that you know how to start preparing and start getting ready for Rendezvous. At that point, the teachers, home advisors, and the youth, you guys can take off. You guys can just mingle and talk amongst yourselves, whatever. The stake representatives and us staff, we'll get together and we'll start making sure all of our outposts and the activities and all that kind of stuff's going along. So we're going to have meetings for the next couple months. What I want you to pay attention to is the topic. So in July, on the 22nd, will be our next meeting, this meeting. The 2 things we'll talk about is regalia. And when I say regalia is what you're going to be wearing. Okay, all the stuff you wear, all the stuff you can make, the bags, the medicine pouches, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about the trading post. There's an amazing trading post. It's been one of the biggest things that one of the funnest things that the boys love to do up there is they can make things, or even bring things they've made, and they can trade those at the trading post. And so just the ability to trade and how to trade and doing that is a fun thing, and it's a huge thing for some of these boys. Next, in August, we're going to talk about Dutch ovens and Dutch oven cooking, and the Dutch oven cooking that we're going to do up there. We're also going to talk about flint and steel and how to do flint and steel and different methods of creating a fire. In September, and because we've shortened the number of meetings, in August, that night, you're going to turn in your payments. And we'll talk here in just a second about registration, but that's when you're going to go ahead and turn everything in. So you're going to bring your checks, if you haven't done so by then, you're going to turn them in that night and pay for your boys that are going to be up there and your leaders. September will be the final registration. We're going to hand out all the packets, all the information that you need actually for registration. We're going to hand those out. We'll have kind of a question and answer, last minute, who needs to know what, and get ramped up.
What's the September date?
Yeah, I don't know why that's. It's the third Thursday. Is it 3rd or 4th? Sorry, what's the night? It's not 4th. It's the 4th. Sorry. It's the 4th.
But that puts us really close to the rendezvous, and we talked
Talk about
about
change that.
having just a turn-in day rather than having a big meeting like this, just a date that the stuff was due. And that's why we put that at the 1st of September. That wasn't a meeting per se.
Okay. Okay, so, anyway, for now, just July, August, know that everything on August 26th is when you need to turn that in. We'll figure out what's going on there in September, and then, of course, October 7th through the 9th is our rendezvous. That's when we're actually going there.
You mentioned that this is an email attachment.
Yes, this is an email text. We're going to send this out additionally as well.
Has been sent.
Yeah, it has been sent, but we'll send it again as well, so it can be forwarded on to you in a different format that doesn't have much stuff for the state guys. It'll be filtered down for you so you have it as well. Why don't you scroll down? Yes, perfect. So registration can be done at mesamountainman.com. Payments are going to be made by check. So you're going to go online and you're actually going to register. You're going to say, we have 5 leaders and we've got 8 boys that are going. And then you're going to do that there, and then you're going to write out the check for that and then bring that to this next meeting, the next one that you have.
We are encouraging electronic transfers.
Do we have that?
Are the other states doing that?
I don't know. I think the last meeting we said it needs to be a check.
That was the information we got.
Yeah, last present on takeover was checked.
Okay. He's the boss, so, you know.
We will update you if
check
it can be
out.
done another way. Let you know.
Make the check out to Kimball State. They're the state that the area presidency is put in charge of this rendezvous activity.
Okay. So, and again, this information is going to be sent out, but you're going to go onto the website. And you're going to say this is how many leaders, how many boys we have, and it'll calculate that and say this is what you need to pay. You're going to write a check out to the Kimball State, and then bring that to this meeting.
Just want to point out that it is critical, absolutely critical for us to know how many as soon as possible, because we're buying gear for the trading post, we're buying gear, bullets, all of those supplies. We really have to know as soon as possible.
Thank you, absolutely. And because we've shortened the number of meetings, this date is actually shorter than it has been in the past. So really, as soon as you know how many boys you have, and it's easier this year because all your boys that are going to be teachers are already here. In the past, it was like, who's going to turn 14 when and who's on our board? You already know now. So just as soon as you can get in there and say, we have this many leaders and this many boys, go ahead and do that so we can start figuring that in as far as the activities goes, how much stuff we need to start preparing ourselves with. Yes, please.
Payment due or by the ward level or the state level?
Ward level. Yep, ward level. So your state representative is going to be contacting you and in contact with you to make sure that you do that, but it is by ward that you're going to do that.
The registration by ward level or by family?
By ward.
So the registration can all be handled by the ward?
Yep. So as a ward, you're going to write one check and say, we've got five leaders and 12 youth going. And then they'll write a check for that.
You're saying increase the check.
No. So,
The staff is a separate.
yeah, so here's the deal on priests. So the rendezvous is held once every 2 years. The idea is that every youth will get an opportunity to go one time. And so it comes around that in that 2-year period, if priests have not been, if you have a priest in your ward that they didn't go to rendezvous, they're really, really interested in going, they can, if it's up to you as a ward, but if they fit in with that group and it makes sense and your bishop agrees, they can go with the teachers. They'll stay with the teachers, they'll participate with the teachers, and they'll be with the teachers. We are asking states to provide some priests to be in assistance with the outposts, with the activities themselves. But they're not going to be doing the activities, they're going to be running one of the activities. And so that's the difference. So if you have a priest that would love to come back and be a part of Rendezvous again, they can totally come up and they can work at one of the outposts. If you've got a priest that wants to participate because he never got a chance to, then you'll need can he be with our teachers? Is it a good fit? Does that make sense? If it does, then have him come up with your teachers. That's great.
So does the pricing there apply to both the teachers
teachers and priests that are.
Yeah, so when I say per boy, so this is these are who's participating. So yes, all your boys participating is gonna be $25 and $15 per leader.
And the priest in a supervisory role then?
The priest and supervisory role, that'll be separate, and that's handled by your state people. As a board, we don't need to deal with that at all. The one thing to pay attention to is after that September, well, we said September 1st. Gary, is that right? After September 1st, the price goes up?
Yes,
Okay,
that's why September 1st was up there.
You're right. You're right. That's why September 1st is right. Anyway, after September 1st, the price goes up to $30 a boy and $20 a leader. And the main reason for that is to encourage you guys just to get it done so we can start planning. It's a lot on us to make sure the planning for this big of an activity happens. And so really that's the encouragement for that. The other thing is because if we don't order some things in time, we have to start paying higher prices and surcharges if we're not out far enough and we start having to expedite things. So just know that that date's out there. It's not a big deal, but hopefully it'll encourage you and help you, and we'll keep reminding you, and your state representatives will remind you as well. Okay. Next, we've got we talked about the location and key contact information. My name is Anson Jack. I'm the Bushway. That is my cell phone number and my email address. Your state representatives are really your main contact. But if you can't get a hold of your state person, or your state person has gone on vacation for the next 6 months, then feel free to call me, because we want you guys to be ready and prepared and have all the information you need to know. Okay, good enough. If you'll jump to the website tab at the bottom. Oh yeah, close that. Okay, first thing. This is just, actually go all the way to the left. No, it's right at the top, the left tab. Yeah, the browser tab at the very top there. So if you type in Mesa Mountain Man Rendezvous, now just you click the next tab, or this one. If you go to mesamountainman.com, then you're going to get our website. That's us. And this is what you're going to see. Now, our website, we're in the middle of revamping. It has the essential things there, a lot of things that you might click on. It says there's nothing here. We're in the middle of still working on it. But what you'll do is up at the top where it says book now, that right-hand box up there at the top, that's where you're going to click to register your boys. You're going to click on there, it's going to bring up and it's going to say, are you staff or are you, it says unit, but are you a ward? Okay? And that's for your teacher's form. You're going to say, well, we're a unit, we're a ward, we're going to click on that, and then these prices are the old prices still, don't worry about that. But that's where you say, I have this many youth, this many leaders, add the cart, and then just write out a check and bring it to your next meeting. So that's where that takes place.
So one thing to realize, when you register, it will send you an email with the final amount, which you can use to turn into your ward clerks for checks and things. So, like, it makes it easier on you. And the same thing for staff registration.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, click on that. Yes, please.
Just one. The 18-year-olds or the pre-stage young men who come up to work in the outpost
Staff.
they are staff.
They are staff.
Everybody needs to understand that.
Thank you. So pretty much all the priests are going to be staff. We're not. But if there is a priest that comes to you and says, "Hey, I never got a chance," you'll work that out as a ward. But pretty much the priests are going to be there in a youth role. This is a youth-led program. We want the priests to be there to run these activities and interact with the teachers and work that way. If you'll click on the next tab over from this one. Yeah, right there. Yep. Okay, and just scroll down a little bit. I just want you to see that as you scroll down, there's a video here you can watch. Keep scrolling down. We're going to skip that. There's a bunch of the activities that we do. You can click on those activities. There's pictures, and some of these, there's videos showing you what these activities are. That video at the top, scroll up one more time if you will, please. Right here. Now, if you type in Mesa Mountain Man in YouTube, this video pops up. Or you can get to it here from this website. I would encourage we're not going to right now, it's 11 minutes long, it's totally awesome. From time to time I bring it up to check something and I end up watching the whole thing all over again, all 11 minutes. It shows what we do. We had somebody go up last time, or one of the times back ago, and they filmed all of the different activities. They filmed the boys out there and crunched it all down into 11 minutes, which is hard to do. And so I would watch that as a quorum. Every quorum here, and if you're a stake leader, encourage your other wards and quorums to watch this, because they're going to see these activities go, I want to do that, I want to do that. They can start practicing some of those skills. You know, if they know people that have bows and arrows or whatever, you know, they can start making some of the regalia. It just gives them an idea of what it's all about. And they see that this is a big deal. This isn't just a roll-in overnight camp and we're going to talk about a few things. This event goes on. There's men who have been doing this for 20 years now, and they prepare all 2 years long for the next rendezvous. It just keeps rolling and rolling, and we keep adding and refining. And so it's really an amazing activity. And so we really don't want anybody to miss it or feel like it's not going to be worth their time. We've had leaders, I've heard leaders say before, oh, my boys aren't into that kind of thing. There's not a young man here who doesn't want to do the kind of stuff we're doing. It's just that the boys don't really know about it. And so once they see it, then they get it. Yes, please.
Is there a minimum number of leaders per boy, and is there a maximum number of
I will tell you, you will not have a hard time finding enough leadership from your ward to attend. And I will also tell you that it's as powerful an experience for the leaders that go as it is for the young men. And so just know that. There's not. That's going to be up to your ward to figure out. Just remember it is for the youth.
Just one thing, when he mentioned earlier that there were 5 boys and 8 adults going, that's sometimes how it happens.
And sometimes one of your youth needs 2 or 3 adults. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So anyway, we're good there. What else did I have there? I think that's all. Okay, we're done there. And again, watch that video when you have time. Please watch that. We don't have time tonight, but that's it. Okay, so we're talking about registration, regalia. Oh, making trade items. Once you start making stuff, make some extra things to trade. If you're making a medicine pouch, and you learn about medicine pouches, and pretty much all the stuff you're making here, you can type any of these things online, and there's a million other people that will teach you how to do it, probably even better than we're teaching you. There's just so much information out there, and it's great. But whatever it is that you're making, you can make a few extra. Or if you've made something else unique that you guys know how to make yourselves, make it, bring it up there, and you can use it at the trading post. You can use it to trade with each other. That's part of it. So, and the other thing is when you make something, don't just make something so you all have one. Put some energy into it. Make it to where you love it. My boys have all made things, and they have a little box. When they went on their missions, they made their rendezvous box, and it's the stuff that they made. They're going to keep their entire lives because they're proud of it and they love it. So put some real thought into it. If you can only make one knife, and that's all the regalia, and that's all the time you have, then put your time into it. Make a really nice knife. Don't just slap something together and move on and have several things that all look like that you didn't care about, right? So just really be proud of the stuff you make. And but if you have time and energy, make some extra things, bring it up there, and that's going to be great to trade with. Okay, the schedule of what we do. We're going to come up on Thursday. So Thursday, what is that? The 7th? Thursday, October 7th. We're going to come up to the camp. Before, we had a whole system of who could come into camp at what times, and a lot of that was because there was just a one-lane road to get in, and the camping was really tight. This time, you can just roll in. So we will need to kind of check you in as you're coming in, but make sure you know where you're supposed to go and all that kind of stuff. And we don't want to get up too early, and there's no reason to be up there at 5 o'clock in the morning anymore. It's just not that kind of a thing, because you're going to wait for 5 minutes to go right to your campsite. So really, we'd like to see you coming up. Really no earlier than 6:30. But come up, set up camp, and at 12 o'clock at noon on that Thursday, we're going to start activities. And you're going to be able to go to whatever activities you want to. You're going to have a list listing all activities. There are more activities to do than there's time to do them. It's that kind of a thing. There's a lot of boys, and we'll talk here in just a second about awards and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of boys who wanted to do everything, and it requires you don't spend any time at camp, and you literally run from activity to activity. And kind of like Disneyland, right? When people go there, if this line's too long, then you go to a shorter line, and you come back later. And you just try to play it smart, but you keep moving as fast as you can. That doesn't need to be everybody's MO when you get up there. We do want you to stay busy. We want you to do as much as you can. But if you're not the guys who are just going to run from place to place, that's okay. Just go up, have a good time, stay busy. Look at the list of activities that you'll get, and say, we want to do this, we want to do this. And if you spend a little bit of time ahead of time, especially when you look at the website, you can see what those activities are. Then you can make a list and say, okay, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to do in whatever order. That's kind of a good way to go about it. Because if you don't hit everything, then you didn't miss out on the bucking barrel, which is totally awesome. And you're not like, oh, we missed that. So get an idea of what you want to do when you go up there. That'll happen all day Thursday. Activities will end in the evening. Later Thursday evening is going to be the stake firesides. Every stake is going to get together as a stake, and hopefully the stake presidency will be able to come and give a fireside as a stake. And because this is a priesthood event, we want your priesthood leaders to come down and speak to you. Did I have something back here?
What's the theme again?
Don't get lost. That information will also be sent to your stake presidencies through your stake leaders. But yeah, if they want to talk about that same topic, it's information will be sent to them. But essentially, they're going to come down. They're going to have a fireside. Something else that can be done that night, that's traditionally done in a lot of stakes, is the giving of mountain man names. Now, real mountain men, way back in the 1800s, a lot of times they lived in the mountains so long that they would have experiences, or because of who they knew, they would get nicknames. Because they've been out in the mountains, they would get nicknames. And so, like Wild Bill Cody, right? So they would get these mountain man names that they were known by, and people wouldn't know them by their state, they were known by their mountain man name. And so we encourage you guys, as a ward, as a stake, to come up with fun names for each other. Not names that'll tease each other and make somebody feel bad. This isn't, you're not Stinky Butt Jake, right? That's not what we're doing. But we're coming up with names that have something to do with that young man, and for 3 days we can call him something different and make that a memorable experience for him. But that doesn't just go for the young men. We want our leaders to have names too. So be thinking about that, young men. So we want to have mountain man names. You can just give each other mountain man names, or you can do it through an official mountain man naming ceremony, which we'll talk about later on. But a lot of times that's done after the fireside is over. They'll just start giving mountain man names out and roll with that if you come up with those. Okay, Friday. So Friday, activities will start Friday morning. They'll roll all day long on Friday. It's a Friday evening. Friday evening, we're going to have the Dutch oven cook-off, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But there's a cook-off. If you want to cook something and submit that for a prize, that's going to happen that Friday evening. And then we have a camp-wide fireside Friday night. And we usually have a general authority who comes that Friday night to our camps. And we will again this time. And they're going to address us, as well as do some other fun things at that fireside. So that's the camp-wide fireside Friday night. Saturday morning, that last morning, we're doing two main things, or three. There's three things that go on, basically. One, we're breaking down camp. We're breaking down, putting everything away, and getting all set up. Two, there's what's called a Coulter run. And this is another thing that there's a huge award for. What we do is we take some of our biggest activities throughout the rendezvous, and I think there's like 15 of them, and your quorum is going to run from activity to activity, and you're going to have one person, you're going to select one of your teachers who's going to participate in flint and steel. One teacher who's going to do, bow and arrow, black powder, whatever it is. You're going to go around, you're going to do each of these activities, you're going to get scored in each of these, and then we're going to have see who wins all that. Okay? So that's a fun activity. And so you're going to be breaking down camp, and you're going to show up at a certain time, you're going to do your course, and then the last thing that we're going to do is we have an award ceremony. Okay? There's a lot of different awards that are being given out, and that's what I want to talk about here. There's a couple of different types of awards that are given out. One award that will be given out is that every activity you go to, they're going to give out awards. So if it's the climbing wall is going to have an award that they give out. They might tell you what it's based on, they might not tell you what it's based on. It might be based on the fastest kid going up. It might be based on whoever shows the most courage. It might be based on the quorum that has the tightest rapport with each other and has the best attitude. It can be anything that they want it to be based on. So just work as a team, have fun, have a good time, but know that each activity you do, they're going to be giving out awards. So that's one of the awards that are going to be given out. Another one that's going to be given out is called the Free Trapper Award. Now, a mountain man, he went out, he was part of a brigade, part of a company, and how am I doing on time? I got break. He was part of a company, and he wasn't his own mountain man. He had to pay off the people that paid for him to go out in his gear. Once he learned his skills well enough, and once he saved up enough, he could be a free trapper. And when you were a free trapper, that meant you can go anywhere you want. You can trap on your own, and you were your own man. And you were able to survive on your own without needing a big giant group of people to take care of you. So that was the ultimate. So up at Mount Man Rendezvous, if you do enough activities, you learn how to become a free trapper, and there's a medallion you're going to get called the Free Trapper Medallion. Super awesome. So we encourage you to do as much as you can and stay busy. If you spend your time back at camp just kicking around because you're a little tired, you're not going to earn a free trapper. You're not going to become a free trapper. So keep pushing on. Another award that there's the Dutch Oven Cook-Off Award. We'll talk about this in one of our other meetings, actually, in 2 more meetings. There's 3 categories, though, of Dutch oven things that you can cook and bring to get judged. That is the main course, a bread, and a dessert. So be thinking about that, young man. Find somebody in your ward that knows all about Dutch oven who can come and spend some time with you teaching you how to cook, because we want you to prepare this meal, and then you can take it to get judged and win. Yeah?
And we usually have a secret ingredient that you have to pick up. Remember that.
That's right.
You pick up from the Dutch oven guys, you have to incorporate that secret ingredient in your...
Well, they'll come talk to you about that, but just know that there's 3 categories, and there's that cook-off going on. Another one is the Hair of the Bear. The Hair of the Bear is that culture run that we do. It's the forum that runs through these events and gets the best time and the best score overall in that activity Saturday morning. And then finally, we have the Top Quorum Award. And the Top Quorum Award is extremely difficult to get. That's the one where if your boys want to win big and want to be better than everybody else, and that's the kind of group you have, then they can go up, they can run from event to event, they can get the most points. And to get the most points, you got to do the most activities, and you got to score the best in each of those groups. If you do all that, and you have the best attitude, and you have if everything comes together, and then you're in running for the top quorum. The top quorum is going to get a prize. And so there's a lot going on, and that's going to be the entire quorum, and there's only one quorum that gets that prize. The free trapper goes to anybody who goes up there, any quorum that goes up there and works hard and has a great time. You're not in competition with each other. You're just in competition to go up and have a good time and do it for yourselves. So there's some different awards to have. There's that award ceremony. We'd love for you to stick around and be a part of that and watch that. Be excited for those who win. Yeah.
In the past, there's been, I think it's called Gold Card.
Yes. Thank you very much. So a lot of the things in the past, not a lot, some of the things in the past have changed. Gold card, we don't have a gold card. There's not pre-requirements to get in. The gold card requirements were some of the things that you had to do and be into to be that top quorum. Now that's not going to be a thing. So just show up and be ready to go after it. So don't worry about that. Okay.
That's why things started at noon on Thursday rather than 1 o'clock. It used to be that the gold card team started at 12 on Thursday, and then everybody else started at 1 o'clock. We took that away and moved everybody up to 12 o'clock.
Okay, any other questions you have, please get with your stake. Every stake should have what we can now call an SRC, a Stake Rendezvous Coordinator. That's typically one of your stake young men presidency members. Or some stakes could have called somebody in the stake, kind of like a camp director, to be the rendezvous guy. However, somebody is your stake contact, and you should be hearing from them. And so, if you have questions, ask your stake rendezvous coordinator. He'll either give you the answer or he'll find out, and then he'll disseminate that information and get that to you. Okay? Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to turn the time over. I'm so sorry. Strawberry. I'm going to turn the time over to Strawberry. Strawberry is going to teach us how to make knives. One of the most important regalia items you can have is your knife. And so that's what we're starting with tonight. I'm going to have Strawberry take it over. He's going to tell us all about knives and how you guys can go home and start making your own knives.
Howdy, Jeff.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Come down. What it is.
This here, this is a beaver, okay? Back in the 1800s, they had trade silver, and they had silver pieces, and one of Hudson Bay's pieces was a beaver. And so they would use these in trade, and there are still some of these out there, but they're highly regarded and very expensive.
It's yours. Thank you for allowing me to teach.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Young man, stand. Answer the question. Whose activity is this? Again.
Wow.
Young man, this is your activity. Please sit. Adult leaders, stand. Your young man in an adult body. Okay? You are the head leadership for these young men. Please, take this information back to these young men, excite them, so they can have a great experience. Just like I do standing here before you, shaking as warm as possible. Please sit. This past Saturday, Howdy Jack sent me a text message asking if I would teach ninth grade. The thought crossed my mind that 35 years ago, on a Saturday morning, my father and myself went to Phoenix to learn from a gentleman in his little shop how to make knives. We didn't have a clue how to make a knife. Started off, this man took a saw blade, traced out his pattern, scored it, put it in the vise, snapped it off, ended up with a rough blade. Okay? He shaped it, he polished it. He put a protective piece on it, whether it be brass, copper, nickel, silver, whatever the boy chooses, or the older boy, if they so desire. A handle was placed on it. There again, the boy's choice. This happens to be handling. It was adorned with either a stone piece, decorative wood. That same 35 years ago, first rendezvous. That Saturday, after we got the instruction, I myself scrounged up on concrete saw cutting unit. All the directions, best I could remember. Here's my prized piece. After all these years. If you look closely, right here, there's one little nick that's rusted. After all these years, it's been placed in its carrying case, tucked away. Every time I look at it, it reminds me that I can do hard things. It was scratched beyond. I spent hours. It's my prized piece. I had so many people that wanted to trade. They wanted to trade. That silver beaver you just heard, we're trading for.
No, I'm not gonna trade this. I'm putting on my hat right there. That's my face over there.
This means more than that piece of silver. When Coyote Jack asked me to teach at Joe Kirchner, keep it as a highlight. But so much that I went and got an Australian pod, made a handle out of it, went to Home Depot, got just a cheap file, got a copper piece out of my jewelry strap, put a decoration on it, and glued it together. There's many different ways you can do this. You can purchase a blank. You can glue your scales on. There again, it's your knife. Do what you want. Adorn it how you want it. Some of the adornments or handles you can think outside the box. You have Troy cactus. If you want to get creative with it, you can fill with turquoise. Or any other granulated substance that you can fill with. Different types of woods. Up here I have on display, I have some ironwood, I have some mesquite ironwood, laminated together, I have some juniper burl, some mountain mahogany from Shovo, I have some olive burl and some ironwood, I have some turtle shell, you go as far as to, if you so desire, put turquoise on it. If that's not your budget, there's access to synthetics, which polish up really nice. You can get buffalo antler or bull antler or horn, as they call it. Actually, today I went up to scrap pile and just found a piece of cold rolled steel. I took my weed burner on a cinder block, heated it up, and pounded it out. Just messing around with it. If you want to get real crazy, you go to the railroad tracks, pick up a railroad spike, you fill it froggy, and try to heat it up. And if you're strong enough to pound it metal, that could be the end product. Or if that's too big, you can get the little tiny ones and do the same thing. This is another one of my prized possessions. That same silver beaver, trade silver, when I was at the blacksmith's, I showed that to him. He instantaneously asked the question, what do I need to trade for? He knew what that was, and I knew what I wanted. If you look closely on this, he stamped in my family brand, which I share. Or, if you're really feeling froggy, you can get a piece of cable or some old saw blades, or even your cable and saw blades together, and see how good you really are. Heat them off, and see if you can get them to stick one or forge together. Make a billet, and then make your knife. Or you can just go to the good old Amazon and purchase your Damascus blade. If your skills are even better, take a piece of glass or obsidian and see if you can nap your way. But then you run the risk of all that hard work that you put into it, you can break it. Hence, I just have a place here. Closest to that is some arrowheads, but they too great as well. In my shop, I have that same 1-inch belt sander that was used 35 years ago. Yeah, over the years I've replaced the bearing a couple times. But there again, it's another one of my prized possessions because that piece of machinery was purchased for you, young man, which was myself, and my parents at that time. We sat down with the girl, and girl. Questions? Yes, sir.
Do you know if you're making it so your bank stops shaking?
I ask myself that question every day. I haven't bothered how to plan it. But thank you for your question. Are there any other questions? So who here has made a knife before? Raise your hand. Okay. Is it easy? No. Last night I taught our young men, got them excited. They walked in the really excited room and they were like, this stuff's cool. And I was sitting in the background. And the leaders are in the background. But I told our leaders, I said, if you don't shape up, get excited, and get right there with them, these boys are going to love you. Like I said, encourage you, ask me to demonstrate. I was doing cartwheels, flips, whatever. I'm here. I didn't just set this up. I set it up. I made a phone call. For you. I brought my wear to show you to get excited. I don't know what the end prize is going to be. We're going to win the but I don't know how many years our boys won. They yearned and longed and desired that prize. I will hope and pray that you young men have that same desire, and you leaders as well.
So I was going to ask, if these guys do get a knife complaint, if they're just starting with an actual blank without making their own, what would that process look like? How many nights would they have to set aside? What would that process look like for them to actually get a knife made?
Okay, so you have a brass tank that comes with this knife, purchased on Amazon. It was about $10. So obviously, it's going to fit just like that. Okay? And you can either use wood of your choice, preferably a solid block, obviously, or you can do an antler piece, which is drill a hole in it. Okay? The antler piece goes on all the way on this way. What I like to do is I'll put my antler piece on, fill it with epoxy. I like using this. I mean, the epoxy has a straw in it, a mixing straw, so you don't sit there and mix and pour and so you just squeeze and go. You fill it, and so once you have the epoxy filled to the top, then you let it harden, if you so desire to do it that way. Then you can come back and adorn it with either bullhorn, synthetics, wood, however you want to do it. Or you just leave your antler, you don't cut it all the way off, you just leave it and drone it over. You don't drill all the way through it. You measure precisely. It's your knife. You can do what you want with it. That's this style. Okay?
And so is that a 2-night thing, a 1-night thing?
It's going to be a multiple night thing because you have to let the glue harden completely. If not, then you run the risk of heating when you're going to grind off. You soften the glue, it can come apart. style is one like this, where you just scalpel on the scales. You can go to timber woodworking, and you can buy all sorts of types of wood scales. Boom.
Timber woodworking's on Southern, right?
Seven more.
My recording started. My program. Church.
Some of the scales that I have are, obviously, this wood that I described. Here, I have pieces of ironwood where a worm had grown its way through. Some people may say, well, it's no good. I say, wrong. There's cracks in this. Well, it's no good because there's cracks in it. I say, wrong. But you know what I would do with it? I'd fill it. This particular knife that I made, yes, sir.
A hardwood, not a softwood, is better for the handle.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. If not, your software's just going to be deteriorated. This is an Australian pot, kind of like a pine cone, but it looks like it has Swiss cheese in it. I found a way to stabilize it and make it hard. Like you said, it was soft. So I found a way to get it done. Find a way to get things done. So I hardened it, I was able to fill it, make it a handle. So what I'm going to do, I just made some knife scales. At the end, yes, sir.
So for our boys, we need to at least have 3 weeks scheduled out, 3 days minimum. I mean, it should be 4 days, like, back to his question up there. I mean, if we start this and we have 2 weeks left or something like that, we need to schedule out, what, 3, 5 weeks?
So when's the rendezvous? October. How many months of breaking it up?
But as far as days go, like, I need to at least schedule 3, 4 days.
If you're starting with a knife with a cutoff or an old blade that you're trying to cut down and stuff, what we found is with the right angle grinders. Yeah. So, because we did this, the Deacons Corps wanted to do this last year, but we found the right angle grinders cutting out the blade. Some of the boys would get it done in a day. Some of the boys that have never used these saws, they took like 2 or 3 days just to cut it out because they were kind of intimidated by the sparks coming off and stuff of trying to cut it out. And then so you've got, if you're starting with scrap metal that you're cutting out, you've got to plan at least, each of the boys getting 1 to 2 days, 2 nights on a right angle grinder. And then they've got to sharpen it on a sander, belt sander for, again, 1 or 2 days.
You got to shape it.
And then putting scales on is actually probably the quickest thing. You put them on one day and then you shape them the next day. If you're using wood, it shapes easier. If you use an antler and has something cool like that, then that's, I don't know if that takes longer or shorter. But so you have to plan. If you have a lot of young men, you want to try to get as many right angle grinders or something as you can to do it. Then you have somebody that'll heat treat it and stuff too. That doesn't take very long. It's how comfortable your young men are with the tools, the power tools, is how long it's going to take to get it done. So they're comfortable with them, they'll get it done quick. If they're not, they have to plan extra time.
So how many hands did I see that made knives before? All right, everybody look around. Keep those hands up. All right.
They're your experts.
It's not me, it's you guys.
Can I put on one thing too? Don't forget, every knife needs to have a sheath. You can't just walk around with an open knife. Not only is it dangerous, but it's just, you need to have a sheath so you can have it on you and proudly carry it. So that's going to take a night or two to make a sheath. And you can have a very simple sheath or a very elaborate knife sheath. But that's going to take a couple nights, so make sure to plan that in as well, right?
Correct. Yeah. So, yes, sir.
Any restrictions on the size of it?
And that was my next question. Which one?
No, we don't. You know, BSA had requirements, just, we want these boys to be safe. They're doing a lot of different activities. A lot of these activities are very physical. If they've got a machete-sized giant blade on them, they're gonna hurt themselves. The other thing is really once you get past like 4 or 5 inches, it's not really usable. Unless you're like using it as an axe or something. Most knives don't need to be longer than that. They're not the ones that are going to be carried. If you sit down, you can't sit. So there isn't per se, but be smart with your boys. We don't want them coming up with swords and things because it's just a recipe for somebody getting hurt. Please, Gary.
We've had that before, and it just created problems, and our recommendation has been, 4 or 5 inch nut blades, because otherwise they start swinging around and problems arise, or
This
fall
right
off,
here,
as the case may be.
this right here is my showpiece, okay? It serves me no purpose. Okay? I did something as a youth that was hard, and I accomplished what I wanted to get out of it. Okay?
Yeah. One nice thing is if you're cutting out your blanks out of steel, or you're ordering, if you're ordering your blanks, just order them a certain size and order a couple different ones, and they all choose, and that's what they have to deal with. So you're not going to have youth going, oh, I want a 21-inch knife because there just isn't one to have, right? So you just you can help them out that way.
The other thing is sometimes we've had guys bring throwing stars because they have an advisor that has a CNC plasma cutter and it's really cool to cut out throwing star. Please don't. Please. That's not period correct for the American West. Maybe for Japan or China, but please don't do that.
Also, make a sheath. We had a year where like 2 boys sat on the knives they made and had to get stitches, so.
Yeah. Do not bring a knife without a sheath.
In
Just
delicate places.
don't do it.
This right, yes, sir.
Be aware of the work of the youth in your quorum. Make sure that none of them are on juvenile probation. I had to have a young man detained because he came from home from Rendezvous with a very big machete.
This right here is a usable knife. Okay. If used properly. The machine edge put on it. It's very sharp. It gets the job done. And you can still make it your own. Okay. This happened to be purchased, it's a patch knife. This was purchased on Amazon as well. Okay, you can do little knives. Actually, my possible bag has a spot where you can put a little patch knife on it. If you desire to make your own possible bag, you can do it. You can do anything that you want to do.
I saw some guys that they went to Goodwill. They bought knives at $1 a piece, like bigger knives, and then they just cut them down, smaller and shaped them the way they wanted. And they ended up with really awesome knives, and they were like the metal was next to nothing.
So Harbor Freight, if you buy the files from Harbor Freight, the files are still hard metal, but they're super soft as well. Because they come from our. Yeah. Anyway, you get the picture. It's still workable. It gets the job done. It's cheap. And then you just work your hand. You can always trade away. Any other questions?
We will, just so you know, I don't know that I told you this, but we have a list of resources. It might be dated. I know that I've gone to 2 or 3 different websites that I always went to for mountain man stuff, and they're gone now. COVID changed a lot of things. A lot of smaller businesses aren't around. But we will send out a list of resources to your state resource coordinators who can send that off to you.
We're going to have them up on the website too, right?
Yeah, and they'll be on the website. But you can start those at least. The best thing to do is just try to find somebody that you know that's been rendezvous, ask them where they made knives, and just start finding some actual people that have done it. But there are resources out there. The other thing is if you just go to YouTube and type in how to make your own knife, there's a million people that'll show you step by step now, and it's awesome. Not better than straw beer did though.
Don't be afraid of YouTube. My neighbor, he just acquired a Ferrari, a 2005 Ferrari, the town shifters. You have to go to YouTube to figure out how to drive it. And he's a car collector, so YouTube has some good stuff.
Awesome. Hey, can we get a round of applause for straw beer? Advisors and the teachers. We're going to release you. As a matter of fact, here's what we're going to do. We're going to release you. You guys can just go. We're going to have our meeting with our state rendezvous coordinators. We're going to meet in this third overflow. That way, if any of you teachers want to come up, please don't put any of this stuff in your pockets or touch anything, cut yourself. But if you want to come and look at any of this, get some ideas, talk to Strawberry here, feel free to do that. State rendezvous coordinators, we're going to be in this third overflow. When you're done in this room, if you can put these chairs away, then I don't have to stay here all night doing that. And then, see you next month. Oh, and if you did not get a chance to sign in on your way in, please sign in. It gives us an idea of which states are having people attend. That way we know who we need to call and get on board. So if you didn't get a sign in, please do that on your way out. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that.
Thank you.